In this week's Spotlight, we focus on the haze that could be a problem again now that it's the drying season. For the first time, green groups in Singapore are coming together to fight the pollution. The People's Movement to Stop Haze will launch a campaign next month to raise awareness of what the public can do. WWF Singapore and the Singapore Environment Council will also be involved. This report by Alice Chia.
Thick smog, a burning smell. For the past few years, air pollution has plagued Singapore during the haze season. That's typically during the drier months, from June to October. It was in June 2013 when the pollutant standards index hit a high of 401, and the haze is expected to return.
This year is felt by many to be a more than dry year. There's a potential of El Nino. And really, if we think back even 2 years ago when there was 400 psi, that was a dry year, and a lot depends on the wind direction, of course. There will be fires, there will be haze, and sometimes whether it's Singapore, Penang, KL, Southern Thailand, it just depends on the wind direction.
So one group is taking action to prepare for this. The People's Movement to Stop Haze, or PM Haze, is launching a campaign called We Breathe What We Buy.
Since 1997, I realized that the haze keeps coming back year after year to affect us. So I thought, why not us? Rather than just complaining, how about we, the people, go and try and do something about the haze?
It will hold a series of activities to help the public understand the haze problem. These include nature walks, followed by outdoor forums to explore the issue. The group will also recruit and train volunteers to give talks about the haze in their schools. The group came up with these activities after a trip to Indonesia to get to the root of the issue.
What we saw there was a very shocking image of a huge area, almost completely devoid of greenery. So what we saw were like dead trees. The farmers told us that almost every year fires will spread through the whole area.
These fires are often started to clear land for plantations, especially those producing palm oil and paper.
We're talking about plantations twice the size of Singapore. These tend to use fire, and the amount of carbon release is huge. Some of them also on peatland, and this will make the smoke even more dense.
PM Haze feels the public has a role to play.
Ironically, whenever we buy a product that contains palm oil or paper, we could be paying for these companies to continue their rampant destruction, which eventually causes the haze. So eventually what we are saying is that we have been paying money for the haze. So right now, why not we put this money and give it to the companies which are doing the right things?
Consumers can do this by using less paper and choosing products made from sustainable paper and palm oil. Palm oil is used in half of the packaged products found in supermarkets, such as margarine and even shampoo, but it can be difficult to spot.
Palm oil comes under close to 30 different names, so for the layman it's very difficult to tell. So why don't we move towards a common labeling protocol for palm oil? If it's palm oil, just label it as palm oil, and then let us know whether or not that palm oil came from sustainable sources.
One way is to look out for those with a green label. It's managed by the Singapore Environment Council, which certifies items, including palm oil products made using sustainable practices. More than 3,000 products are certified under the scheme. These include paper, detergent and paint. But the Council has not received any food submissions.
As part of this campaign, what we want to go out to do is to work with the government. We want to work with our fellow NGOs as well as manufacturers and retailers, for example supermarkets, to say that if you want to have your food certified, your product certified, we can help you do it.
International Non-Profit Association, the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, or RSPO, has a certification scheme as well. While its secretariat is based in Malaysia, the products it certifies aren't widely found in Asia. Many companies in a region do not commit to using sustainable palm oil. WWF publishes a report to assess firms on their efforts to do so. But it says many Asian companies do not want to be part of the report and do not submit information for assessment. It understands that one reason is that it's more expensive to use sustainable palm oil, so it hopes consumers can make their voices heard to put pressure on the company. The public can visit the campaign website, which will be launched in July, and pledge to support sustainable products. Organizers hope to collect 50,000 pledges within the first 6 months of the campaign.
We will then try to come together in round tables and discuss sustainable palm oil in Singapore. We encourage all businesses using palm oil to speak to us proactively as soon as they can. And we'll also try to see if these companies can come up with voluntary commitments to solve the haze problem.
To address the haze problem, a think tank says there is a need to engage more stakeholders.
We have to get the producers and the large buyers, and then the finance companies, and then the large retail companies like the supermarket.
But one supermarket cites challenges in providing products made from sustainably farmed palm oil. NTUC FairPrice says a balance must be struck to address the price difference compared with those from normal sources. It will also need to assess the rate of adoption by major manufacturers. It's hoped that one of the largest consumer groups in Singapore can come on board as well.
The public sector, as you know, represents a significant demand base. We've got 80,000 over civil servants, you've got more than 70, or rather close to 70 statutory boards. So that represents a very significant consumer base. And if they are willing to go out and say that we will only procure goods that are 100% from sustainable sources, I think that will send a very strong message to your suppliers and manufacturers who want to then do business with the government.
But there's an understanding that the haze is a complex problem. To solve it, different groups need to work together.
The government must set the right tone. The next set of institutions that really must do much more are the financial institutions. Singapore is a major investor, a trading hub, investment comes from us. Listed companies in Singapore facing Singapore exchange rules, run plantations in Indonesia and Malaysia. And really these are the macro controls.
And it's hoped that through the campaign, consumers can play a bigger role to bring about change and stop the haze.